I just got done creating this outdoor yard art section. In my case, it is mostly antique and modern art display. I'm going to talk about how I made this and how you can do it too if you want. This is made out of, the first thing I did was put down underlayment. In this case, this is roof underlayment. The roof underlayment is not landscaping fabric formally, and the pros and cons of that is with roof underlayment the weeds will not come through, but with landscaping fabric the weeds will come through, especially in areas like Florida with lots of rain and lots of invasive species of weeds. So this is 3 strips of roof underlayment, and then I placed, this is just a scrap piece of wood there. I don't recommend that. That's something like an 8x2 treated wood. You'll want treated wood. You can make it any size you want. The smallest would be generally 4 feet by 4 feet, and in my case this is 8 by 8 feet. And so I laid down the 8x8 on the border and screwed them in with very long Torx screws. I screwed them in at an angle so these are connected together. The purpose of that is so when someone bumps into it, it won't go in, or if the lawnmower hits it, it will not move. Make sure it's treated wood. And so that gets you a good frame, and then you want to, before putting mulch down, decide if you're going to have something like this, an antique water pump or well, and pound that into the ground. Well, that pounded into the ground, but this doesn't. This you have to use a post hole digger to dig out something like a 6x6 or larger spot and stick that in. You can concrete it in or just put it in like that. I don't recommend concrete in this case because this is not going to need strong structural support. This is just decoration. And then obviously it's going to be treated wood. And to get this platform on here, since the 4x4 is too small for these antique water pumps, I put on something like a 8x2 treated piece of wood, screwed it in with Torx screws at 4 points, and then drilled tiny holes here for these lag bolts to go into it. No need for nuts on the other side. As long as the hole is not too big, you can just screw the lag bolts in there and it'll hold it on there. And then you want to put down mulch. In my case, I used the more expensive rubber mulch. I don't like the stones in this case because the stones are kind of difficult to move around, although they would be fine really. In my other one, I'll show you, on the other side of the house I built another one, and it's very similar but just a little bit different items in there. Okay, the reason I wanted rubber mulch here is because my septic tank access points are there for empty and there for cleaning out the filter, so I need to be able to scoot that mulch out of the way easily, and if it were rock then that would be much more difficult to do. So again, in this case it has kind of an antique theme with a few other little modern things and nautical items, some old yard equipment or whatever. That's a modern do-it-yourself assembly thing from Lowe's. I kind of don't recommend it. This one I treated quite a bit with a wood protector, so hopefully it won't deteriorate too fast. And on the post you can screw in various things on there or set something on there. in this case also 4 Torx screws to hold this 6x2 down, and then I used lag bolts to screw in this slightly different well pump. I've never seen anything quite exactly like this. This was all just something I made up. And the reason why I have the fabric extended, this is synthetic fabric, extended out at least 4 inches, is so that I don't have to trim around it. Because in Florida, the weeds would normally be growing over very quickly, and in this case I can just mow over and not have to do any trimming there. But the trick is to use staples, in this case generally something like 6-inch long, about 8 to 10 grade gauge staples to pound in there to hold this fabric down, so that the lawnmower won't catch it and rip it up. Or so if you do weed trim, it won't catch it so much to rip it up. Now this over here is a rare antique hopper that is mule or horse drawn. I bought that to put it in one of the 2 8x8 sections, but then I decided no, I'm just going to have it over here because it would be too much clutter to put that in there. So I put it here. So I didn't repaint it, but I did coat it with outdoor grade polyurethane, which does cause it to depreciate in value when I do that, because now it's not completely original, but at least it's going to last a lot longer. And then I put lots of lubricant on anything metal to keep it from rusting, and I'll probably have to do that every year in the extremely hostile climate of southeast United States. Oh, I don't recommend the cheaper landscape timbers, the ones that are designed for landscaping. They're a little smaller and a lot cheaper. There's a reason they're a lot cheaper, even if they're advertised as pressure treated for outdoor use. That's total or it's not total, but it's mostly BS. They may be kind of a little bit pressure treated, but they're not going to last very long. They're total crap. You can't do much with those, at least with the 4x4s. If you pay more for those in emergencies or whatever, or if when you go to tear this down, if you want to, you can use those 4x4s for something. But landscaping timbers are useless. They're too weak for any kind of structural use. Here you can see where I have the staples about a foot apart, so that when I mow, the fabric won't catch into the mower blade. You can put anything in there you want. It doesn't have to be this kind of design. I do like these water pumps. This one here is actually an oil pump. Those are even much harder to find. And then I put an aftermarket sticker on here that's not what came with it. The oil pumps are much more modern, even though they look antique. This is from around 1985. Here I screwed on a metal Ford Mustang front grille emblem. When I bought this at a antique shop or vintage shop, I thought, when I paid something like, I don't know, was it $12 or something, I thought, wow, this thing must be worth a fortune because this is all metal. There's no plastic. And then I went on eBay and saw probably 100 of those on there. This brass boat propeller, those are worth a lot of money. I got that one for just $20. And so the reason I don't have it inside is because I want it outside to get more patina. The older it looks, the more it's worth. Generally, but not always. Depends on the buyer. So once that gets corroded more, it's not gonna be bad corrosion as far as making it weaker or anything, because it's brass. It's probably just going to develop some more staining and patina to make it look more old and antique than it is. I've had bird baths out here for 5 years, filling them with water, and I've never seen a bird ever go in one of them. And regarding the bird feeder, it generally only attracts blackbirds and almost nothing else. The new Costco water fountain is where the main air conditioner, mini split air conditioner condensation goes into. A lot of times I don't have it on. I need to get a timer where it comes on during the day and shuts off at night. These are John Deere hoppers, seed hoppers. Those are hard to find. You can get them on eBay, but the shipping is high. And generally about, I don't know, $80 plus shipping. So you're looking at maybe $140 after everything, tax and shipping and everything, to get one on eBay. But I drove from Sarasota to Tampa to get these for $45 each, and the seller eventually had seller's remorse because those are pretty precious. People use them for planters. I decided not to, but rather put plants on top of it, because if I open it up and fill it with dirt, it's going to corrode a lot quicker. So since these are kind of valuable antiques, I did coat them with rust protectant, but they're already rusted. And then I strategically located the original logos facing north, so that all throughout the day the sun doesn't hit directly on the logo, as opposed to if it were turned around the other way. This is from Tractor Supply Company. It had all four wheels, and over the course of only about 2 years, one of them rusted off and it's just turned into rusty junk. But I'm not going to throw it away. I'm still going to display it, because the worse it looks, the older it looks. So it kind of looks old now. That see, it has rust on it, so it doesn't look like it just came out of a modern Tractor Supply Company. So all but two of these objects are very portable. I can move stuff around or trade or whatever. It's just that anything with these poles are more, they're not permanent because I'm not using cement, but they're going to be a little bit more work to relocate. Due to being in the dry season in Florida, believe it or not, Florida does, in my part of Florida near Sarasota, we have a very long drought period throughout the whole winter. The ground is extremely hard. In order to have drilled that hole, I had to use a water hose and let it drip water for hours and hours to soften that up, so I can get a hole dug in there with a post hole digger. I have a waterfront river, but it doesn't cause increased corrosion because, well, it's over there and not right up to it. And that's, although it's slightly has a little bit salinity in it because it's close to the Gulf of Mexico, then it may have a little bit of effect when that evaporates and possibly carries over here to bring a little bit of a salt breeze. I don't think very much though, because I think it's by far fresh water. Since this is right in the middle of the backyard, I thought the only other use for that location would be something like a trampoline or an outdoor swimming pool. Since I don't have a family, then this is fine. But there's still room for trampoline in many places of this yard, or a swimming pool. For example, that whole thing can be expanded out for a covered swimming pool. You can see quite a repetition of the same plant because this propagates very easy. Just break a piece off, stick it in dirt, and it's good to go. That saves me from having to go buy anything, at least for now, and they do eventually flower. These I repainted with colonial red spray paint, and then I used some white here. I put some white on here, so that's not the way it originally was. I think it was originally this color, this exact color, but they didn't actually do that, so I did that just to make it look neater. by painting the antique, depending on who wants to buy it, I may have decreased the value of it, but overall I think it increases it because it looks a lot better. Depends on the buyer. Some buyers, the craziest ones, well, I don't know about craziest, just certain buyers only want stuff that's in its absolute original state with no changes. But the advantage of what do you call it, restoring it and all that is it's going to last longer. All right, so what do you think of all that?